Today, I have the honor of interviewing Daniela Glatz. She is from Austria. She is one of my coaching clients, and she has some really amazing and interesting stories to share with us, some really great insights from her side. So, thank you so much, Daniela, for being here today and
Thank
sharing your
you.
story, or better to say, your stories with us. So, can you give us a quick introduction about yourself, who you are, what your background is, and things like that?
Hi, Danielle. Thanks a lot for having me. And yeah, my background is I'm from Austria, so actually I'm not really the classical client of Daniel because I actually speak all the Swiss languages. I should not have any troubles in this regard. But the reason why I actually asked Daniel to help me a little bit is because I was myself not really informed about the job market in Switzerland, even though I was already living in Switzerland, but I have been working quite some time abroad. And my background is I started in the private sector, then changed into the international organization sector. And then after 3 years in the Congo, I realized that I would like to basically put these two experiences together, and I started a new education in corporate social responsibility. And so actually, I was trying to enter the Swiss job market, and on top of it, into a new field, for me at least, into a new field. So that's the reason why I actually asked Daniel to help me a little bit. Um, as Daniel already mentioned, I have a couple of really interesting stories that came up, some by chance, some because I think I triggered them. Um, so I think one very, and it's actually the first really interesting story, is that I went to see also a person like a job counselor, which a friend of mine organized. And she gave me a good hint. She said, that was still before I met actually Daniel. And she gave me a good hint, and she said, why don't you look, if you want to move into CSR, why don't you look a little bit into the typical profiles that people have working in CSR? So I took LinkedIn. I looked up all the people that I thought are doing CSR in Switzerland. And I stumbled over this lady that is doing basically the sustainability with a major shoe company. And I looked at her profile, and I was not thinking a lot about it. I was just looking what was her background, her education, her experience. And then 2 days later, a friend of mine calls me and she says, oh, by the way, I got a call from a lady. She's working in this famous shoe company, and she was asking why you were looking at her profile, if there is some special reason or whatever. And then she told me that she told this shoe lady that yeah, that I was looking into moving into CSR, and that she guessed that I was just trying to see who is doing it. So the lady, the shoe lady, told my friend, listen, I think her profile is very interesting, and why don't you tell her to give me a call? That's what I did. I gave a call to the shoe lady, and she told me that they're actually looking for somebody to take care of their children program. And so she asked me if I would be interested. She invited me for an interview. And now I already had 3 interviews with them. And I'm just waiting for the last okay now, because it's summer holidays. So, but I think I had a good chance to actually to get the job.
Okay,
Okay. So that was one really interesting story.
very good.
Very good.
Okay.
Then um, a second story is I saw, in this case, I saw a job ad for a CSR consulting company based in Bern. I called the company to investigate a little bit more about the position, and it happened that I had actually the person that is at the moment in this position to have him on the phone. And maybe, I don't know, maybe he liked my voice or whatever. He was really, really nice. We were talking for 1 hour on the phone. He told me everything about the position, about what they're looking for, what would be the project working on. And he even gave me some hints on what should I really focus on in an eventual interview or in the application letter or whatsoever. So afterwards, I called the hiring manager, and already in this first discussion, I could already use basically the all the hints that the person having the position at the moment gave me. So that was really useful. And I also already had an interview now, and because of the summer holidays, again, I'm waiting now for the final answer.
Okay, interesting. So you basically saw this job ad online, and you just called the company. So was there a phone number on the job ad, or okay? So
Phone number, but I think I was just lucky because actually the hiring manager whose telephone number was on the job ad was not there.
okay, okay,
So
okay.
actually it was then the person having the position at the moment who was answering and who was really keen on telling me more about it.
Okay,
So
so
that
so
was pure luck.
okay, that's really interesting. So once you got that person on the phone, what were kind of the things that you, or initially, what were the kind of the things that you wanted to ask them, or and what were the things that you actually asked the person in the phone call then?
The first questions I asked was, first of all, if the position is still available,
Mm-hmm.
if they already started their recruiting process or whatsoever. The second question was if you could give me a little bit more details on the jobs, on the projects, type of projects they're working on. And then the third question was also what kind of person they are looking for.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I was telling him a little bit about my background, and then he actually said, "Yeah, actually, this would be interesting, and this is actually the kind of person that we're looking for." So
Okay.
these were the things, and then he gave me also some internal, because he told me that they're trying to restructure the office a little bit, and which was very useful to know. Then
Okay.
interview.
Okay. So when did you actually know that this person that you had on the phone was not the hiring manager initially? So did the person that say that already in the beginning?
Because he told me that because actually the name of the hiring person was written on the
Oh, the
job.
name was there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. And so you talked to this person and he gave you that input. What was the next thing you did there?
Um, well, I talked to him, and then I wrote actually my formal application,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
and but I before I sent it, I called again the hiring manager.
Okay, so the next day or when did you?
No, a week after because he was away for the whole week
Ah, okay.
for work reasons.
Okay, so you didn't apply before you talked to the hiring manager.
No,
Very
no.
good. Very good because
No, I had the input from the person to replace,
yeah.
and then again I had the input from the person from the hiring manager, and then I wrote the application, but then I just adapted according to the information that I got from the hiring manager. I adapted the application.
Okay, interesting. So what was the kind of things that you included in the message that you sent to the hiring manager afterwards once you got that information?
It was more about the projects that he was actually thinking of doing in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And there he gave me some idea what would be actually the projects that in future they would like to work on. So I just tried to mention that I already have experience in this kind of projects.
Okay, so that's really interesting because I think that makes a big difference. So what you basically did is you looked at the kind of things that are going on in the company, the kind of issues they're facing,
Hmm.
and you matched that with your experience or with your background. So what you basically did is you showed the hiring manager who's responsible actually for the hiring of that position,
Hmm.
how you can well solve their issues, how you can bring in uh, some value from outside, and how they can benefit from what you've done in the past.
Exactly.
Excellent. Wow. Okay, that is very powerful. And I just recently did an interview with Marco, another one of my coaching clients, and he mentioned something very similar. I mean, he mentioned the same thing, that what he did is he communicated, just the values and benefits and how he can solve these problems, and
Yeah.
these matchings really made the difference. And I think that's what made the difference in your communication there as well, and that's how you stood out
Yeah.
from all the other applications. And of course, because you call, because most people don't call, so you had a lot of information up front already. You were you were putting a voice to your CV, to the picture of your CV, and all of those things. So
Yeah.
everything was together. So they already knew who you are before you even sent anything. That
Exactly.
is very powerful.
Yeah. And there's also one thing that I can maybe mention is that during our interview, um, um, actually the first phone interview with the hiring manager, he mentioned that they wanted to do some kind of CSR guide for companies, and they wanted to do it in a comic form, not in a normal manual on how to do things. They wanted to do try something different and do it in a comic. And it was funny enough because I think like 2 days after our phone call, I saw something very similar on internet. I I have a couple of newsletters I'm receiving, and there was another company in the U.S. who was doing something very similar. So what I did is also I saw this link and I sent it to the hiring manager, and I think he really enjoyed receiving that as an example or also maybe a guidance for their own work. So
Wow,
it
that
shows
is.
it helps also a lot when you try and help them. But it was just also a coincidence. I didn't really look for it; it just popped up. And
Yeah, I think the main thing there was because you were really interested in, helping them in, and not just getting a job for the sake of getting a job, but really interested in helping the organization and generating value for the hiring manager and for the organization. That's the reason why it just, popped up
yeah,
somewhere, and it just came into your life, and you were able to just very easily send that over to the hiring manager and show him, well, this is what you told me, what you're looking for, what you need. This is how this is what I did in terms of my homework. So
hmm,
I did my homework, and this is how I think it could look like. So, this is the big difference, and this is why I love to quote your story so much, because you completely follow a different approach. You're not looking for a job. What you try to do is you try to create as much value as possible for an organization, and that's a completely different story. So wow, really amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that.
welcome. Well, I also do it because it is, as always see your wonderful blog postings, and you say it's all about the passion, and CSR is really my passion. So I read on it and I do it every day. So of course I stumble over a lot of things, and if I can see, that there is a company that is trying to do something new and interesting, and I can add to that, it's not so much about the job, it's just helping out.
Yeah, exactly. It's not about getting a job. It's about living your passion. It's about doing the things you love as much as you can. So that completely becomes a different story. It's
Yeah,
really interesting to see. Very good.
exactly.
So that was the second story, right? That we
Yep.
had now. Okay, wow,
Mm.
very nice, and two more to come.
Two more could come. Yeah, I will keep the best at the end. But well, the third story, it's it's actually this case. This is not at all about CSR. It's more about what I was doing before. But it's funny enough because the person, a friend of mine, who told me about the job is somebody that I met in the CSR course that I was doing. So there is a little bit of CSR in it. But my friend, she's working for an organization which is working in training on gender issues, especially for peacekeeping missions. And I have been, maybe I mentioned it in the beginning, I was working for international organizations. I was working for 3 years in the Congo for the peacekeeping mission there. So she told me, oh, you know, she knows that I was looking for a job. And she said, oh, you know, we have a new post in my company, and we would really need somebody who has experience working with with peacekeeping mission. It would be really great if with gender issues, and on top of it, would be in Geneva and immediately available. So I looked at it, and it was really interesting. And then actually, I don't know, maybe some of your clients or people that looking at, they know that a couple of weeks ago there were the Fête de Genève, the Geneva city festival. Mm-hmm. And so I went for a drink with my friend, and when we were there, she said, oh, and by the way, a colleague of mine is going to join us, and it is actually the hiring manager. So we were at the Fête de Genève. We were just having drinks and discussing what they were really looking for. And I could, in a relaxed atmosphere, I could tell already the hiring manager what I am, or who I am, what I can do for them. And they were really interested, and she told me definitely to apply for the job. So it was also just about networking and to know the right people.
That is great. I think that's going to make a great blog post about how to meet the hiring manager for a beer. That is fantastic. So what you basically did there is you looked at your current network, the people that you know, the people that you call friends, right? So really the close friends of yours. And as you said before, that you told them already that you're looking for a job. So you were communicating your intentions. You told them what's going on in your life, because of course they're your friends, so they have to know that. So you communicated that, and because this person, your friend, remembered you, she called you up and mentioned that sort of a job lead, and then because she really trusts you, she already automatically from her side wanted to introduce you to the hiring manager. So so she took her along for drinks, and I mean, wow, you met the hiring manager for drinks at the city festival in Geneva. I like that one a lot. Very good.
It was, of course, because with my friend I was doing this university course together. So of course we were also in group work together. So she already knew how I am, how I'm interacting with people, and also I would be working with her. And for sure, she would have not mentioned the job if she wouldn't have been sure that she would like to work with me. Mm-hmm. Because it would change also our relationship. So far, we were doing the course together, we were having drinks together, but then it would mean to work with her on a daily basis. And I think if you have people who are only suggesting it, if they can also imagine working with you, so that also helps.
That is true. Yes, very much. Very much. And then you said you keep the last story until the end.
Yeah, because this one is it's actually, it came out of nothing, but in the end it's actually the dream job that I'm aiming for, and it popped out of nothing. What happened is, of course, CSR. There's this consulting company, Accenture. They were organizing a big conference worldwide conference, which was transmitted live on internet. And I was watching this conference, of course, because it's my field of interest. The next day, I received a friend request from an old school friend. I was in elementary school with this friend. So I think I have seen him the last time when I was 10 years old. And I got a friend request on Facebook from him. And immediately I was asking him, so how have you been all these years? What have you been doing? What are you doing now? And he told me that he's now living in Germany, working for Accenture. But he's not in CSR, he's more doing the finance and banking consulting. And I said, oh, that's interesting, because just yesterday I was following Accenture's Sustainability 24, and I found it really interesting. And so I asked him, so how is the company? Do you like it there? And he said, yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's already like 8 years that he's working there. And he said, so would you be interested in working for Accenture? And I was, at the beginning, I was like, yeah, sure. I didn't know a lot about it. I knew about about this conference, but not what they're really doing. So he said, well, why don't you just go on internet and you have a quick look what we are doing, and if this would be of interest to you, I could try and introduce you to one of the hiring managers. That's what he did. What I did, and after I looked at all the projects that they're having, I thought, okay, this is what I want to do. And very, very interesting projects, and of course, it's a multinational company, so this is also what I'm aiming for. So he introduced me basically to the head of the sustainability cluster for the German-speaking countries, so Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. And he sent him my CV, and the hiring manager immediately, he thought that I have an interesting profile, and he set up a first informal telephone interview with one of his colleagues. So I had this first interview, and I could bring in my ideas, what I'm doing, and immediately 2 days later I got the feedback from my friend who talked to this interviewing person. He said, very, very good feedback. They found my profile and what I'm doing very, very interesting, and they would like me to apply officially, because they're actually trying to extend their sustainability offices, to apply officially, and so I'm in the official process of recruitment. That's what I did. Also there, I did a lot of research, what they're looking for, but also as it is a consulting company, I was also doing some research on what could be the future clients of this company. And this is how I basically looked, and also then set up my application. I came up basically with a suggestion in what field Accenture could break into the market. And I think this is what they really, really liked. Of course, I mean, this idea was also with my background, because as I'm one of my passions, and where I'm really also engaged in, is this whole story of conflict minerals. And there is a lot of companies that have to do something in this regard, and I thought, okay, a company as Accenture would be well positioned to do consulting work in this direction. That's what I did, and I think they really liked this idea. So I had already my first official interview last week with another person, and now I'm also waiting for. I already got some feedback, but now I also have to wait for the official feedback from the recruiting officer.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
That is amazing. Once again, I think it's a completely different game because I mean, what you did is, really based on the why, how, what statement. Mainly there on the how part, because what you did there is you once again showed the company how you bring your ideas in, your benefits, your values, how the company can benefit from what you did and your ideas, and what, not just what you did, but what you're going to do as well, which is incredibly important. And this is such a powerful thing. And most people just simply don't do that. They just simply go for, just the idea of getting a job. But I think that also relates to the thing we discussed in the beginning, because it's your passion, because it's the thing that you can think about and talk about day and night. It's a different game, because you're not thinking about it as a job. You're thinking about it as doing work you love, doing things that you really enjoy, doing things that you absolutely love. So of course the communication is different. So it really all starts with the passion, because if the passion is there, the rest is so much easier, because then the why, how, what statement is easier to define, and that communication flow is much easier, because then you have much more confidence. You talk much clearer. You suddenly somehow not talk in features, but in benefits, and that completely changes the game. So another really fantastic story there, very very interesting, and wow.
For me, what I have to say is, what it was a lot the networking that worked for me, but it's also a lot. You have to do your homework, and you have to do research on the company, on what they're doing, on future developments. And actually, while doing this research, I stumbled over other companies or other people, and which are actually bringing again new leads. So basically, by preparing for one job, I actually stumble over new opportunities for other jobs. So I can only recommend to your clients or to people in general, just do your homework, just do some research, and it also helps then to meet new people again.
Very good, very good. I mean, yeah, that's also one of the questions that I have to you is, what do you think were the key factors now in your job search that got you those interviews, that got you so far already?
Um, I have to admit that I underestimated a little bit the power of LinkedIn, at least for the field I am working in, because there are not so many people, and you have to find them somewhere. And there, LinkedIn was a really, really great tool. And then it's all about trying to find the right people. Also, I mean, you, for example, there's one thing that you always say, yeah, try to get introduced by people. What I do on LinkedIn, if I find a person that I find really interesting, I just write directly to the person. I'm not
Yeah.
even going through introducing myself stuff through somebody else. I just go directly. I always write a personalized message. I never just click on connect only with people that anyway know me.
Yeah.
Um, but otherwise, and it works very well. So far, I think I don't have anybody who did not want to connect with me.
Excellent.
And so this is one thing that worked really well. LinkedIn, for me, it worked perfectly. I even met people in CSR that are based in the US or in Asia or whatsoever. So this is, for me, it was not only to meet people in Switzerland, but just general.
Okay.
This is one thing that really worked well. And another thing is to go on to meetings. Meetups are really, really great, or trying to find meetings that are related to your field of work. And then also, sometimes I know it can be quite expensive, but if there is some fair not job fair, but fair in your industry.
Mm-hmm.
Just do once or twice at least the effort and put some money into there, go there and meet people and also companies.
Yeah, I remember.
It worked for me very well. I got a lot of leads. I participated, for example, in a conference where now I'm actually, it's also a think tank. They actually wanted me to join the think tank, and it did not really lead to a job, but they asked me, for example, to participate in 2 book projects, which is, it's also very good to have it on your CV. It's maybe, it might not bring you a job, but it gives you some credibility.
Absolutely.
And also it's just, you know, also the exchange then of expertise when you're in these kind of think tanks.
Exactly, and it's much, much easier for you then to connect with even more people and get to know more people much easier because you're automatically in there and people are in there, so you don't have to make something up to connect with them. You're in there, you connect with them, you can ask them for referrals, for introductions, and in many cases that's interesting with you. You know, I always tell people, you know, to actively ask for introductions and things like that. And in your case, what's interesting, most people in your network automatically introduce you to others because you did the preparation work. You don't even need to ask for those kinds of things because these people automatically introduce you to others because you built that trust already, and the people in your network are what you truly call friends and not just Facebook contacts or things like that.
I have to say I try to build my networks around real people that I know. I'm not a collector of friends on Facebook. I have only like 250 friends, but I know when I need something, I can really ask them. So it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality.
Excellent, excellent. So one last question that I have, you know, the tagline of my business is career excellence through relationships. What does that mean for you, and how did that impact your journey by now?
You mean the relationships to people?
Yeah, the core part of building relationships and having that network.
Oh, I think this is really important. But also, it's not only important to find a job, but also once you are in a job, the world today is really interconnected, and to have people in your network where you can go to and ask for information, even once you are in a job, I think it's really important and powerful.
Yeah, I think you're scratching a very interesting point there, because most people, when they get into a job, they stop building their professional network because they think they don't need it. But the thing is, you always have to build it the most when you don't need it. It's like when you don't want to fix your roof once it's raining. You want to fix your roof once it's sunny to make sure that when it's raining, it's fixed.
I can give you one example. I'm working, or I'm trying to work now in CSR. And I was working with international organizations before, but I really tried to keep contact with all these people I was working before, even though today I'm not really in this field anymore. But CSR has a lot to do also with development. And just the other day I had a small project, and I needed some advice. And so I went back to one of my former colleagues who is a specialist in a certain field of development. And I just asked him, what do you think about this? Could that work for a company as well? And he was really helpful. So also trying to keep these people close, even though if you think that, okay, I'm moving now into another country or I'm moving into another field of work, just really try the contacts that you already have, try to keep them close. You never know when you will need them again.
Exactly. And the key is always the same. You need friends before you can ask for something, because otherwise it's never going to work. It's never going to work as well as in your case. So thank you so much for all the great stories, for your amazing inputs and sharing that with me and my community. I'm really, really certain that this will inspire even more people to think different, to think different about their approach, about why they do what they do, and about how they reach out to people. So thank you so much, Daniela. It was
Well,
amazing to talk to you.
I
And
would like to thank also you because maybe if I can quickly add is the reason actually why I engaged Dania is because I was doing all this work and I knew that I knew that I already know what to do, but I was not doing it in a very structured way. And to work with Dania and to work with you, it gave me a little bit of guidance. Also, of course, some really valuable hints on how to put it better, or sometimes just also the brainstorming with you in the coaching on how to approach a certain person. Sometimes when you have a second opinion, it's really helpful also to
thank you
build
so much.
strategy.
Thank you so much for the praise. I'm really, really glad, it helped, and it made the whole approach much more effective and structured. Really, really happy to hear that. So once again, thank you so much for sharing the stories with us, and I wish you a lot of success on your continuing journey. And yes, keep us informed and keep us posted how things go. So
Yeah,
thank you so much, Daniela. I wish you a fantastic day.
thank you. You too,
Thank
Daniel.
you very much. Take
Bye
care.
bye.